Everybody, Sure Simmer here. So welcome to Broma. So we're here, and I'm picking these up. I'm going to try to have these be the Saturday replacement of Flight Simulator. I don't know. I would like to say, hey, maybe we'll do more than one a week, because otherwise it's just going to take forever, and I may no longer be around to finish this series. Given that there's over 200 legs to get this done. Either way, we are going to go ahead here and get ourselves ready to go. Now, again, I'm testing things with, well, I'm not really testing, I'm trying to use SayIntentions Tour features with this, so that will be important. So I'm also now, I've changed my SayIntentions to kind of what is the professional tuner and all that, but not sure that that's gonna, because basically it, in theory, requires you to follow what's going on, but again, we are requesting VFR in this case, so I think we'll be okay, but we may not be. Go ahead, get all of this set up. We're on dirt, so we shouldn't need the initial separator. We're going to get our fuel select to auto. Going to turn on that and get our starter on. And we're going to put ignition on. And, we're going to need to get this to low. We're going to want prop up to max. Little crack on the throttle. Moving my trim. But looks like we're okay there. Get ourselves up to high. And hopefully we've got a running plane. We do. Alright. So, if you're new to the series, because I know it's been a bit, I think September was the last time. This is now early November, so it's been a couple months. This is a VFR world tour that we are on here. We'll put this on auto. We'll get the starter off. That'll give us more power. We'll go ahead and get our nav, our strobe, our pulse on. That will be good. We'll get all of these turned on so that the instruments start doing what they need to do. So we'll get the EFIS master on. We also need, trying to think, we need the radios on, obviously. We're going to get the autopilot going. All of that should line up. I probably should have had the bleed on, but didn't, so. Alright, let me, let's see, let's move over here. We're going to want air conditioning on, fan to auto. Don't have to worry too much about this. And again, we're going to have the cabin temp, and then over here we have the outside temp. So right now they're similar, as one would expect, but that will obviously adjust over time. Alright, so we're going to enter, let this start doing what it needs to do. We are set there, and we're going to import our flight plan from a file. So we're going Echo Sierra Sierra Bravo to Uniform Lima Lima India, as you can see. And we're going to have in the flight plan a few waypoints. I had to make an adjustment because if you watched episode 14, that was the last time we used the version 2 tour tuner. So, you know, that obviously had some things going on there. All right, auxiliary BP, we want to go to auto. So just making sure we're running. Yep, it's the propeller's going so quick at this point, can't really tell. And UNH 01002. So almost where we're at. So that'll get us about to 20 feet or so. So we're pretty low here as we'd expect. All right, and then we're going to want to turn the flight director on, yaw damper, and ultimately the autopilot, but, you know, and we're going to want to do nav, and we want to make sure that we're going to GPS, so we're good there. And we're just kind of verifying. So, as I was saying, if you're new to the series, basically we've got a gentleman who created this series of flights. And they're really meant to be really engrossing VFR experiences. I have loved them, hence why I want to go ahead and do this. Now, he is of similar interest, likely age as me, very familiar or very interested in kind of military history to some degree. So a lot of his waypoints have something to do with World War II, usually, especially now that we're in Europe, things like that. Let me set this to, let's say, 3,500 to start. Should be pretty low level here, I think. All right, we're gonna get vertical speed, but just trying to make sure I'm set. And so he's written up a narrative, but we're also using the awesome power of SayIntentions here to go ahead and try to get some benefit that way. So I'm not really even going to call to air traffic. So again, hopefully it won't cause any issues. We're just basically going to go. And again, this isn't about air traffic realism, this and that. And we just want Sarah, our tour guide, to give us as much information as possible. So we're all set, I think. We have everything we want right now, other than we're going to want to set flaps to takeoff. We've got trim good. Fuel tank selector, again, should be auto-selected, so it should move us back and forth. And so what I tend to do is we're doing a bit of a mix, and certainly looking over this this leg, there's a lot of stuff he's included in there, and some of that is just simply because of the amount of information that is available and that can be done there. So these videos are shown in their entirety because they're VFR flights. So okay, we're going to go ahead here, and we are going to head out to runway 12. All right. That took off really fast. Usually it requires a bit more throttle. That's interesting, because this TBM has got a few works to it. Of course, I said it took off fast, and now it's not moving. Come on. There we go. So I must have just goosed the throttle enough that it worked, but come on. My goodness. All right. It's just struggling to maintain things. But yeah, we need to head out here. So we are in Bromma in Sweden, if I remember correctly. And we're gonna head up the runway here. Come on. Trying not to use too much. Too much throttle, but whoops. Alright, I wasn't to the taxiway yet. I thought I was. So yeah, there's other parking. It would help if I had the airport map up, but, you know, I'm like, it's a simple airport. I'll be fine. Lesson to any wannabe pilots. Don't guess. Now, again, obviously we'd have, you know, a little bit more view around otherwise, but there we go. Now we're on the taxiway. And so, yes, runway 12 is up this way. So, but we will film things. There may be times that I will go offline because these can take a while. Their legs, the way he's broken them up. Again, this is leg 15. I include in the description if you're interested in flying these as well. Well, first off, you can download the flight plans with the link, but then I encourage you, if you're a SayIntentions subscriber and can use the tour guide and so forth, go grab those. That'll do a lot of things for you. So, and again, we'll be utilizing that. But we'll get out here to runway 12, runway 12, as we should talk through. And again, the goal is not to get too high. We want to be able to see things, but sometimes just the nature of the TBM, it's, you know, we're moving quickly. This isn't a Cessna where we're going really, really slow. That would take a really long time. But yes, this is a series. About 115,000 miles, I believe, is what we'll ultimately fly, should we be blessed enough to get this all done, which is over 4 times around the Earth. So when you're talking about a world tour, you're like, I mean, I get you got to go some places because you know, plane like this won't go across vast expanses of water, but wow. But it's because it's a tour. So again, to clarify that, you are looking at, I just want to make sure we're seeing the right things. So yes, 49 feet, 109, it looks like you're getting telemetry and so forth. I've had a little bit of problem with that, but you can see the DTG, the distance to go, shows 375 miles, because to uniform Lima Lima, India, that is how far we have to go. But we aren't flying straight. So we are flying per the plan to go see some things. So this plan has 9 waypoints, but if you pull this up in SayIntentions, the way I've designed it is with 8. Because what I think happened in Tour 14, it worked for the first checkpoint, and then it fell apart because like she wasn't automatically telling us things when we got close. And I think that was because the geofences were overlapping. And so their waypoints 2 and 3 on this journey are within 2 miles of each other. So there's going to be a castle and a cathedral in the same city, and they're basically 2 miles apart, which works fine for us as human beings, but doesn't work fine for an automated system like SayIntentions. Alright, but we got a nice, we always fly with clear skies. Again, the goal of this is enjoy the view, not really fly and, hey, deal with the weather and all of that. So at this point, you can see our first waypoint, 86.6 nautical miles. So we are going to get moving so that we can be moving. So let's fire this up. Obviously counter it with some rudder. Typical thing with a prop. I mean, it happens with any plane, but it's worse with prop planes, I think, because of the torque of the prop and all that. And as you go faster, it tends to be a little less pronounced. All right, so we're just about there. We should be able to lift off. There we go. Like 80 to 100 is a good thing. All right. So we're up. Gear up. And we need to turn, as we can see in the PFI, or PFD. It wants us to kind of head this way to get on target. So we got a river, some, again, not marvelous scenery, but I am using all the enhancements I normally do, so the new, the better, the Msfs map enhancement mod and all that pulls some better Bing things. But again, you're flying, you're not driving, so there's some weird ground anomalies sometimes and things like that. All right, so at this point, should be able to hit autopilot. That should start to take me there, and then I should be able to say I want to climb. It's probably too quick. Whoops. I want to climb. But let's set it at about 1,000 feet, and let's talk to Sarah. Sarah, can you please load tour ID 1255?
I'm sorry, but I can't load tour 1255 as it's not available in this area. Would you like to hear about the available tour instead?
Did I do something wrong? Sarah, can you please load VFR TBM Around the World Leg 15 tour?
I'm sorry, but VFR TBM Around the World Leg 15 isn't available here. The closest available tour is Leg 14, which starts at Drottningholm Palace, about 13 kilometers away on a heading of 220.
I am just confused, because I believe I did what I needed to do. So before I abort this, I'm going to just check some things offline. So sorry about that, but we should be fine. But yeah, because Drottningholm Palace is toward the end. I mean, it's in town. And maybe it's because we have 80 miles to go. So we're going to give it a try, and we'll see, because, yeah, the first waypoint is a good ways away. So, but it should know it's starting from this airport. So that is what is odd. But, anyway, we are going the right way, I believe. Everything is set appropriately, like looking at, we were at like 59 degrees, and here in town we're at almost, 59.3, but we're going to be at like 60 on latitude is what I'm talking about. All right, so we're at 3,500 here, which will be a good location. Again, maybe we drop to, maybe I'll try to drop to 2,500. And we'll see what we can do here. Now, I'm going to take our flaps up, and I'm going to take my flaps to 850. which, whoops, we've redlined. Again, I need to be careful. But it'll let me go at about 120 percent of power. More importantly, the airspeed will go up, so that will be great. But yeah, as far as the track I'm expecting, looking at Navigraph, little nav map, stuff like that, like I'm right where I would want to be. So everything appears to be heading the way we want. It's just the tour tuner is not cooperating. But what I want to do is get, say, 10 miles away. We're heading toward the coastline here, but let's, while we have a little bit of challenge with our technology, let's go here. So we're going from Bromma to Pulkovo, and as I said, farther flights. So we're actually flying 510 nautical miles on this instead of 375. Typical of what we have. We're usually between 400 to 600 nautical miles is how he's had these legs set. So we are now, and we're going to Sweden, Finland, and Russia is what we'll be doing in this leg. So we're heading northeast across the Åland Straits to the Bomarsund Bridge and the Åland Islands, which separate the Baltic Sea from the Gulf of Bothnia. That is what we're doing in our first leg here. So that is the narrative he's given us. The benefit we get with the tour tuner is we get, a little bit more detail. So let's see. Okay, we're at 2,500, or just about. Looks like it's settling in. It's still going down the 80 feet or so. But this gets us a little closer to the ground. And again, I want to get a good setup, because when we're trying to find points, having the external camera set up better is usually a good thing. And I may want to zoom out a bit. That'll give us a little bit more view. All right, but we're 65 nautical miles away, so again, is it going to take 2 hours? Is it going to take 3? I don't know. I know that's what it typically is, so that is why I'm setting the expectation, so that if you are going to follow along, which I certainly hope that you do, because obviously I'm putting these out because I would hope that folks are finding things enjoyable. But what I'm trying to pull up now in Navigraph, yeah, so we've got an airspeed of 223 is what Navigraph is reporting. It's been, again, when I don't fly a plane
Looks like we're
for
flying
months.
over a pretty quiet patch right now. So let's talk about the closest spot of interest, Skepstall Airstrip. This little airstrip is a favorite among local pilots for its rustic charm and scenic surroundings. Think of it as Sweden's answer to a secret treehouse, but for airplanes. It's not a major airport, but it's got a certain appeal for those who love the simplicity of grass runways and the thrill of short field landings. Built to serve small aircraft and glider enthusiasts, it's a great example of how aviation brings together a community, even in the most tucked-away places. If you ever wanted to feel like a bush pilot without leaving Sweden, this is the place to do it.
All right. Let's see if we can get her to give us our tour now. Sarah, can you please load VFR TBM Around the World Leg 15 tour?
I'm sorry, but VFR TBM Around the World Leg 15 isn't available here. The closest available tour is Leg 14, which starts at Drottningholm Palace, about 55 kilometers away. If you'd like to start that tour, just let me know.
All right, well, hopefully we can get there, but that's the first time Sarah's done that, where it's like, oh, it's a little quiet. I mean, we've engaged with her, so that was the thing, but... No, Sarah, I'll wait until we get a little closer to the first waypoint of the tour I asked for. So maybe we'll try...
No problem. Just let me know when you're ready to get started.
Okay. So we will maybe wait until we're at 30 nautical miles and we'll try it again. So you can see the coastline is coming up. I can see on Navigraph, this is why I like having other things out on the sides and so forth. I can see on Navigraph where, things sit as far as the borders. So there's a Sweden-Finland border in the water. I'll let you know when we're approaching that. And we also tend to get to about the halfway point on the leg when we pass the little sign on the leg that tells me it's 86 nautical miles, 45 degrees is the direction we're flying at this point. But thing I love about this tour, it just takes me to places I've never been and many likely will never be. I mean, I can't visit everywhere in the world. I don't have the finances. I don't have the time. Even once we're fully retired or whatever, again, what'll health be like? And, as I've talked about in certain episodes, I mean, if you think about the cost it would take to do something like this is why I love what Microsoft Flight Simulator lets us do. Because we have a photorealistic recreation of the Earth, the entire Earth. And so for something like this, it's perfect. I mean, these waterways, these trees, the roads, the neighborhoods, again, is it awesome? Is it spot on? Whatever. Again, as we were closer to the ground, we could see, some crazy artifacts, this, that, and whatever. But it's as close as most of us are ever going to get to being able to do something like this. And I would say, I don't even know that, some of the billionaires like Bezos and Musk and the dude from China that I can't remember that owns Alibaba, the richest people in the world, they might have the money to do it with their billions and billions of dollars, but the time involved would just be incredible. And again, obviously they've made their fortunes by being workaholics, and you're not going to change someone like that, As they say, the tiger doesn't change its stripes, or the zebra, I don't know, something with stripes doesn't change. So, and I certainly don't have billions of dollars, and that's the thing. Like, I think I was talking at probably the last leg. Like, if you think about what you're doing and hiring a plane, and obviously just getting there and having, we ignore that, hey, you're not working, you're doing whatever, that it would be thousands of dollars probably for each of these legs. By the time you rented the plane, had like a hotel on each end so that you could stay, because I'm sure you'd fly a leg a day, and again, there's 200 legs, so hey, if you're doing that, maybe you could do this tour in a year. So you only need to be away from your life for a year. But I just couldn't imagine the cost. All right, so we're heading out. I assume over the Baltic, as it had said, that we're crossing from, don't want to get it wrong, so I'm trying to look for it. But yeah, the Baltic Sea from the Gulf of Bothnia. So I don't know that it's going to tell me that, but as with most waterways and features and all that, I don't know that I'd say it's halfway when I look at it, because there's a smattering of islands across the way in Finland. We're not seeing them yet because we probably have 30 or 40 nautical miles of water to cross here. But a lot of times they kind of divide the water halfway and say, hey, this is yours, this is mine. It's probably a little closer to Sweden if I really look at it. And some of that is, I'm sure, it doesn't want to, chase the shoreline or all of that. So, but yeah, sometimes, especially if we're crossing large bodies of water, like I said, this is kind of the view I've gotten people used to. That way you get as much of a window as you can, because there's less of a view out of the front. and then you just get to enjoy, as we did, the countryside. So that's a bit of why we're doing that. But you can see Finland at the
Looks
edge
like we're out
there.
over the open water right now, so let me tell you about the closest city, Norrtälje. Founded in 1622
It's
by King
behind
Gustav
us.
II Adolf, Norrtälje is known for its charming wooden houses and picturesque harbor. The city has a long history as a trading post and was once a popular spot for merchants sailing between Sweden and Finland. Aviation enthusiasts might appreciate that Norrtälje Airport, just outside the city, serves as a hub for general aviation in the region.
All right, so we're at 33. I think 30 is going to be right at the border, so I may wait until we're a little further toward land. I'm worried if because sometimes it takes a little bit for it to load and her to be ready. Yeah, I've never had her flat out refuse to load something. But again, they've made changes, and maybe it's just, hey, you're too far away. Because again, I was probably 3 miles away from that castle, and it's interesting that it said it starts there, because that's like waypoint 7 or something on leg 14. So it's a bit odd. But we're heading toward I think it's Mariehamn. I'm sorry. Michael November are the last 2 letters. Phonetic alphabet helps out with stuff like this. So yeah, we haven't hit the border yet, and you can see we just crossed the 30 mile mark. I do have to remember I'm showing miles. A lot of this is done in kilometers, since we're over in Europe maybe, or I don't know, or just that's the base setup. So at this point we're probably still 60 or 70 kilometers away, and we were 55 kilometers a while back on the other thing. So now is about when we've crossed the border. We're in Finnish waters now, or over Finnish waters. Let's stay out of being in Finnish waters in an airplane. That I think we can probably all agree on. It looks like, oh, it's Lumpar Land or something. I thought it was Lumpland. I'm like, that's not a great name, but once again, they're Finnish, they're not English, so. Alright, we've slowed down to 219. Again, I'm not at the red, so. And basically, again, the TBM has this TBM flap setting that basically helps with that added speed. But right now we've literally only gained 2 knots from that, and yes, because we're not doing realism, whatever, I always fuel up full. That way I don't run any risk of we've spent 3 hours in the plane and suddenly we're out of fuel and I have to do it again to have a better experience, or splice things together, whatever it is. All right, let's see if we can get her to cooperate this time. Sarah, can you please load tour 1255?
You got it. To start the VFR TBM around the world, leg 15 tour, our first stop is Bomarsund Bridge, which is about 41 kilometers ahead. Get ready for some fascinating history and views along the way.
All right, cool. So I'm glad that worked, because, again, I haven't set it. This is only the second time I've set it up, and it is a pretty tedious process now compared to what it had been. We used to be able to click on a map. I did see, like, map view. I've clicked on it. It brings up a map, but and it lets you create a tour there, but then it just doesn't work. So, so I think that's a remnant from the old system, but and maybe they're gonna like build it all together later. But right now we have to enter basically decimal representations of latitude and longitude. So I have to use a converter on one screen while I'm picking the points on Navigraph to get the latitude and longitude of the waypoints that are on the map. So the benefit there is I used to basically zoom in on the map and try to like click in the same point. Obviously I could be off a little bit. Here I'm using their flight plan coordinates directly. Now, we are getting close, but, well, it's still 16 miles. It looks close. So, and again, we've got Mariehamn. That, I think, is the airport over there. It's actually harder to see than it is out the window, but it does basically sit on the water with a roadway going under it and so forth. So, we'll probably be seeing that come into view, but that is the only airport I see on the map at this point. And again, I'm zoomed in quite a bit on Navigraph as well. But yeah, I think that's the inlet to the water, and there you go. You can see the end of the runway. So that's Echo Foxtrot Mike Alpha, if you ever choose to fly to it on your own. But that would get you to this part of Finland. I almost said Sweden, but luckily I did not ruin our tour by being an idiot. So, the other points, I think this may be the farthest we have between points. Again, it's showing, you can see on top, I'm sure, about 312 miles if we were to just head toward the airport and go. So obviously we've made up, 60 or so miles, but we're not there. So we go across kind of this large body here. It's almost like a big bay. I mean, there's roadways that get you here, but man, this just looks like... I'm thinking these kind of areas have got to be the ones, if global warming continues and the sea levels rise, like you might lose everything you see here. Because it, in essence, looks like an island. Like, I'm not seeing the mainland of Finland off on my map yet. But you've got these farms, people, forests, so for some people, it's like, I don't care. I don't care if it gets warmer. There's some serious problems for people in different parts of the world. It's almost like, is that a grass runway?
At 6 o'clock, about 12 kilometers away, you'll spot the Bomarsund Bridge. This bridge isn't just a crossing, it's a link to the dramatic history of the Åland Islands. Built near the ruins of the old Bomarsund fortress, the bridge stands as a reminder of the fierce battles fought here during the Crimean War in the 1850s. The original fortress was constructed by the Russians, but it was famously destroyed by Anglo-French forces, leaving behind impressive ruins that attract history buffs and curious travelers alike. The bridge today connects the main island to the Sund municipality, making it easier for locals and visitors to explore the scenic and storied landscape. If you squint, you might just imagine the echoes of cannons and the hustle of 19th century soldiers, though thankfully, the only thing booming these days is the view. That brings us to the end of our tour. We've soared over castles, towers, and cities,
what are you talking
tracing
about?
a path through centuries of stories and stunning landscapes.
Don't do this to me. That is not the end of our tour. It's the start of our tour. What are you doing to me? I don't know what to do differently. Man, I thought we were in good shape. Because, yeah, she should have said our next stop will be... Okay, so this is the bridge here. And yes, this is just an island. Like, there's no connection to the mainland. So that airport is how you'd get there. And so, yes, the main island. And like I said, I mean, how much of this would survive? But there you go. There is the Bomarsund Bridge. So that is it. Sarah, can you tell me about waypoint... What's waypoint 2? Let's see. She's still thinking.
Waypoint 2 on our tour is Näsinneula, a striking observation tower in Tampere, Finland. Built in 1971, it's the
Sarah,
tallest
stop,
observation tower in
please.
the Nordic countries, standing at 168 meters. The tower is famous for its revolving restaurant at the top, which gives diners a 360-degree view of the city and surrounding lakes.
All right. Don't.
Okay, I'll stop the tour now.
Sarah, I apologize. I did not want you to stop the tour. I just wanted you to stop talking. Please continue tour 1255.
No problem. Let's pick up tour 1255 right where we left off. Our first stop is Bomarsund Bridge, about 6 kilometers away. Get ready for some fascinating stories from the Åland Islands.
Sarah, we're actually heading toward Turku Castle.
Turku Castle is actually the next stop on our tour, not Turku Castle. Turku Castle is about 89 kilometers ahead and is one of the oldest buildings still in use in Finland, dating back to the late 13th century. It has survived wars, fires, and even a stint as a prison, so it's basically the ultimate survivor of Finnish architecture. Over the centuries, it's been expanded and renovated, and today it serves as a museum where you can get lost in medieval halls and dungeons.
All right. So she may repeat the same thing when we get there, but the narrative from the gentleman who created this: a slight right will take us across the island chain to the Finnish mainland and the town of Turku on the Ora River, featuring Turku Castle and the Turku Cathedral. Okay, so, you know, and that's the benefit here of the tour. But the tour guide, she has that extra information that she's able to glean, you know, I assume off Google. But, you know, and we're 50 some, yeah, literally 50 nautical miles away. But if I go back to the yeah, there's just a lot of islands out here. So yeah, and some have, so we're going over, there's another airport here. In this island, it's going to be south of us. So again, when we look up here, again, it's so challenging sometimes to get here, but it's basically somewhere over there. And it's Echo Foxtrot Kilo Golf. I forgot what G was for a second, sorry. But it's kind of in this space here, I think, on the island. And there's just a little bit of a roadway there, and that's it. But I'm assuming these people have to be fisher folk or, you know, just retirees, people that just really don't need a lot of connection to the mainland. But it's a little too remote for me. I don't mind, you know, we've recently ourselves moved to a smaller town. I'm not going to call it a small town, because small town people would say I'm crazy. Because, you know, for a lot of people, even in the U.S., you know, there's small towns that are 100 people or less or whatever, that really barely, you know, barely exist per se. And what I mean by that is they don't have a large number of people. Doesn't mean they barely, you know, whatever. People are just touchy sometimes, and yes, I've had some arguments with folks on different Discord boards the last week, so I'm probably a little more sensitive to not triggering somebody's, you know, unhappiness. I've been talking about things with Truck Simulator and one of the main mods I use, and didn't like some of the changes that happened, and, you know, people overreacted to my reaction because they think I'm some, you know, stomping around having a fit or something, but you know, it's okay to tell someone you don't like something. We seem to have lost that in this world, but anyway, you'll get a lot of that with me, you know, on the Mature Simmer, so if you like it, come back for more. Good time to remind you the only thing I'll ever ask from you is please like and subscribe. It's really important for the channel to continue to grow and get more people here. So, yeah, this seems to, you know, hopefully it'll work well. I mean, hopefully she won't again be like, oh, we're ending the tour now after Turku Castle. But I'm glad I was able to kickstart it. We didn't have to play games. Because at a minimum, what I can usually do is then just tell her, hey, tell us about whatever. The interesting thing is, I don't know why it called Näsinneula or whatever, however she said it properly, I'm sure, as waypoint 2, because that's the third waypoint. That's after this. So, so it was interesting. So I can't use waypoint numbers. I've learned that, because there aren't any anymore. There used to be things like that. And maybe if I put in the description waypoint 1, waypoint 2, I don't know, maybe I could do that. But I leave the description, if I put anything there, for things to help her say something that I really want to talk about that I might find in the notes. So, for example, at the end of the last leg, we were talking about the Nobel Museum and all of that we were flying over as we came into Stockholm. But yeah, we've got it gets more and more informative in his information. And again, she probably won't go over a lot of this, but there is a good amount of World War II stuff coming up. So, not quite halfway through this leg, but just a lot. I mean, it's beautiful. Again, I don't know that I want to live here. So, like, somewhere up, I don't know that we'll be able to see it because it's kind of behind us. There's another set of islands with a decent roadway system. And then we really don't have... I mean, there is a town up here on an island. It looks like it's Inio, I-N-I-O, I think. Like right on this island, I believe. It's at the top end of it, though. But other than that, these all... They don't have names on them or anything, so I assume they're uninhabited. As we get closer to kind of a big... Well, it might not be an island anymore. We might finally be attached to the mainland. We get close to that. There's something that looks like Ruofsalainen. I'm sure some Finnish person listening to this is laughing hysterically, but yes, that is my attempt. So not this island, but that one. So I think like somewhere up there, but there's obviously people here. So, but there's no name that I can see. I can see the same type of clearing. So again, good on ya for really having a good view here. It's matching my chart, like where I can see that there aren't forests and whatever. But yeah, now we'll just be heading over a bunch of tiny little islands is where the path is taking us. I can finally see everything coming in. And Turku, or however she corrected me, Echo Foxtrot Tango Uniform is the airport there. It's going to be off of the left side here, so we will kind of see it. We'll be turning and really probably getting right next to it, so you can fly directly here. I mean, you can fly pretty much directly anywhere in the world. That's why planes are wonderful. But yeah, I really enjoy this, and yeah, I think this hopefully will be a more interesting series to people to get involved with and to look forward to than the NASCAR series I was doing. While that gave me the ability to fly, I think from a unique standpoint in the YouTube verse, for Flight Sim, yeah, this is going to give you something to see the world and give you some things to look forward to. Like I said, I may do, you know, if I have time, maybe I'll do more than one a week. You know, and if that's the importance of subscribing. When a video pops up, when it publishes, if suddenly I throw one out there on Wednesday as well as Saturday, you'll know because it'll show up in your subscription. So that is the benefit you get at no real downside to you. Helps me, and it helps you. Perfect thing, right? Win-win. All right, so this part again goes up here to the mainland, kind of a peninsula, but you'd have to see the chart. It's just amazing how this part of the world is set up here. And I'm sure again it's just land and water has risen this high, and you know, again, as we talked about earlier, if sea level changes, you know, our maps will change and less of these will be visible above the water. But I mean, none of these look incredibly tall. So you know, I mean, there's clearly some hills on this one. This one looks pretty darn flat. You know, 20-foot rise of water, that thing's probably entirely underwater, other than maybe the tops of the trees until they die off from being in the water. But so anyway, we've got this. We'll cross this little water feature way. I don't know. What do you call it? I mean, I'm too zoomed out on the map if there were names, and again, because they're aeronautical charts, I don't think they have a lot of the names of the waterways. I mean, they're just giving you other things. But now we're at 258, but we are then going to take a big diversion for a little bit here, and we're going to probably start going further away from the airport, frankly, where right now we still are getting slightly closer. It's about 0.07 miles every couple seconds. So yeah, that is the whatever it was, Ruhrskalen or something. And then we have Rinitalia. If I come out here, on this space, so it's, yeah, probably this area here. But it's louder out of the plane, but obviously you can see more and enjoy the scenery a little bit. So you guys let me know, like, would you prefer just, hey, kind of stay out of the plane longer, you know, and just check in once in a while, or is this a better view because that's the view you'd have? You wouldn't be floating above the plane. But you know, I'm kind of just as interested. I mean, I'll do what I feel like doing, obviously, but you know, I can certainly be convinced, like, hey, I'd rather fly outside. It's just I feel like the engines are in my head at that point. But all right. Just making sure, because yeah, I had to delete some waypoints because I had I missed one at one point. And so there are cities along the way, because sometimes he'll have waypoints to just, like, not have us flying over water and be able to, again, have things to view, I assume, and so forth. So he keeps us along the coast at one point. That's a few waypoints away. But again, the castle and the cathedral on the tour, if you are not on the tour, on his flight plans, they're right in this city together. So this is the 2 points that are less than 2 nautical miles apart once we get there. Again, we're still 6 miles away, but let's see. Sarah, please tell us about Turku Castle.
I'm sorry, but there isn't a Turku Castle in this region. If you meant Turku Castle, that's our next stop. Let me know if you'd like to hear about it.
Yes, I would like to hear about it, please.
Great. To start the VFR TBM around the world, Leg 15 tour, our first stop is Turku Castle, which is about 6 kilometers ahead. Get ready for some fascinating stories about this medieval fortress.
Okay. It should really trigger by now. I don't understand. Okay, we're technically, like, we're right here, so I don't know what it's doing, but so I'm assuming that's the castle. Sarah, can you please tell us about the cathedral as well? So that's the castle.
Turku Cathedral is one of Finland's most iconic buildings, completed in the late 13th century and consecrated in 1300. It has witnessed everything from royal coronations to devastating fires, and is considered the mother church of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Finland. The cathedral is built mainly of brick, which was quite a feat for its time, and its tower rises 85 meters above the city.
Maybe it's this.
Inside, you'll find tombs
because we're
of
technically not there
and
yet.
a collection of medieval artifacts.
the airport is over there. So you can see it right there. So if you want to fly in, there you go. And not that long of a drive to the cathedral and the castle. Sarah, what's our next stop?
Our next stop is Turku Castle, which is about 5 kilometers away. Get ready for some stories about medieval Finland and maybe a few tales of dungeons and royalty.
Okay, well, hopefully you told us about it before, but we're clearly on to the next thing. Sarah, we're done with the castle. What's next after that?
After Turku Castle, our next stop is Näsinneula, an observation tower in Tampere, about 116 kilometers away.
Alright. Hopefully we've reset her enough. Because, yeah, she triggered properly the first thing, but then she thought the tour was over. And maybe it was just misstating and she would have kept going. Because the problem is, like, in the pro mode, I don't see anything. Like, normally it would show me, oh, the tour is loaded, and da-da-da-da-da. I can't tell. But, as you heard, it's an observation tower, so, and yes, normally the way I've done this, because the first few things, if you go back and watch the tour...
This is what the ATC audio sounds like,
Oops.
and next is what yours sounds like.
Alright. I hit the wrong button. I apologize. Okay, so what I normally do is read on the way, and you can see we have about 68 nautical miles still to go. So heading north will take us across southern Finland to the highest standing structure in Finland, whatever she called it. The tower is part of a theme park in the town of Tampere. So there you go. So it's an observation tower, as she said, but now, as you also understood from what I just shared, welcome to southern Finland. So here is what we've got. I'll leave that view there, because again, I always like to let people see the distance. But farmland. So, and I do feel this type of thing, you know, we all make statements, people hear things like, we're more alike than different. And I don't know that there's a better way to encompass that than things like this. I could be flying over Iowa. I'm sure I could be flying over the farmland of Russia, somewhere in Africa. I don't know, maybe the pine trees probably wouldn't be in Africa, so maybe that's a bad comparison, but there'd still be roads and whatever. Maybe not paved roads, but people are people, and I think it's a good lesson for us to learn. You know, that maybe instead of thinking everyone's other or different, they all need to eat, they all go places, they all have families, and when you're flying 2,500 feet above them, things really show how similar things are. So we just passed Aura, which I think it mentioned in something we talked about. It was the Aura River. So we passed the town of Aura just a moment ago, as we had that view. The one to the left, it shows yellow on the map, shows, you know, highly populated, but I don't see a name the way I'm zoomed out here. It looks like they've got a track, a running track there or something, so maybe it's a school. Again, very similar. Like, you can identify, I'm not Finnish, I've never been to Finland, but I can still tell a running track, because people do the same type of things and in the same type of structures, because over thousands of years we've kind of learned, hey, that works. If I want to run, running in a bit of an oval is a good way to do it. So, Yeah, relatively long leg. But I may mute myself here for a bit. I don't have anything to say. Obviously, if Sarah pops in and says something, we'll get to enjoy it. But I will wait for a little bit, and then we'll be back as we get closer to the tower. All right, we are getting a little bit closer, 15 nautical miles. So we're going to basically be overflying Tampere Airport here. I can't quite see what its ICAO code is, so you'll have to look that up. My line goes over the last letter, so I could give you the first three, but not going to help much. So the amusement park, it's interesting. It kind of looks like it's on the water. So I don't know how much we'll see because we're making a sharp turn here. We'll try to leave Sarah to do her thing. But I'm thinking that is the airport, would be my guess, because usually it's a pretty cleared area, and given all the trees and so forth around, we're not seeing much here, but so we'll stay out here in this view for a bit. You know, maybe we'll pop back inside, although of course once we get to the airport, the city will be looming, and that'll be kind of fun as well. So maybe we'll just hang out here for a bit, but we can see the control tower that we're almost heading straight for. Not sure they'd really let us overfly at 2,500 feet, but we're gonna do it. I mean, if you're doing pattern work, you'd be at like 1,000, so we're up a bit. Should be okay. But yeah, definitely the airport. Interesting drop away. I don't know if that's just a problem in the scenery file, or but yeah, it doesn't. Maybe it's not a drop away. It's just dark. Hey, that didn't look level, but now it does. So I don't know. But you can see. So that I think is the tower. I don't know how visible it is on whatever you're watching. And again, it's 8 miles, so in theory, you know, 4 miles each way that I've given the trigger. We'll see if she activates. If she doesn't, by the time we hit the water, but yeah, I think because the tour thought it ended, it's kind of bugged, kind of botched up, but oh well. We can make it work. Sarah, please continue tour 1255 with our nearest location.
Our nearest location on Tour 1255 is Näsinneula, just 5 kilometers ahead. This observation tower in Tampere was completed in 1971 and stands at 168 meters, making it the tallest observation tower in the Nordic countries. It features a revolving restaurant at the top, so you can enjoy a meal while the whole city spins beneath you. No extra charge for the dizziness. The tower is a favorite among aviation fans because you can spot planes coming in and out of Tampere from the observation deck. It's also a popular spot for locals to take in the view, especially during sunset. And here's something. The name Näsinneula means Nasi's needle, which sounds like a superhero's secret lair, but it's actually named after the nearby Lake Näsijärvi.
Alright, so trying new things on how to get it to work, but at this point, we'll hop back in the plane. 86, so we've got a long way to go. I'll give you the detail of where we're headed, and again, we'll let you enjoy the trip back. So this was kind of our big diversion. And so you can see now, turning back south will take us back to the coast and the Finnish capital city of Helsinki. With a population of over 1.5 million, Helsinki is considered the world's northernmost metropolitan city. Several POIs dot the area, so have the drone ready to go. Now, I don't do that. I mean, we'll look around and, you know, we'll do whatever. Ooh, interesting. Very pretty view, but that's awesome. Come on, tell me anything has more realistic lighting or whatever. I mean, the stuff they've achieved with this is, to me, it's breathtaking. I mean, I'm sure there's people that will have some, you know, they'll pick it apart because that's what people do. Nothing can just be really, really great. But yeah, I love it. So hopefully we'll continue going. And yeah, the next few legs after Helsinki have one short little sentence. And actually, I think it's, yeah, I think it's 2 waypoints and then a third. So yeah, 3 of our 9 are described by a sentence that doesn't even cross the entire page. So, but we'll get that after we leave Helsinki. For now, I'll mute and you can enjoy the trip. Alright, we're coming up here. You can see 11 miles from the waypoint of Helsinki. So we're going to be heading over. Again, if we head on out here, airport coming up, there it is. So that's the main Helsinki airport, Echo Foxtrot Hotel Kilo. So we've got that, and the city itself is there. So I guess we'll have her tell us some stuff. Sarah, what can you tell us about our nearest stop on the tour?
Our nearest stop on the tour is Helsinki, just 13 kilometers ahead. Helsinki was officially founded in 1550 by King Gustav I of Sweden, and it's now the capital and largest city of Finland. The city is famous for its neoclassical architecture, much of which was designed by Carl Ludwig Engel in the 19th century, and for its location on a series of peninsulas and islands along the Gulf of Finland. Aviation fans might be interested to know that Helsinki's Malmi Airport, opened in 1936, was one of the oldest continually operating airports in the world until its closure in 2021. The city is also home to the impressive Helsinki Cathedral, which dominates the skyline and is a favorite landmark for pilots flying into the area.
Not sure what happened to her at the end there. I hope she's okay. Sarah, can you tell us about any Helsinki landmarks that we're flying over? Some stadium.
Right below us is the Helsinki Olympic Stadium, built for the 1952 Summer Olympics.
Well, that's cool.
It's famous for its functionalist architecture and the fact that it was completed just in time for the Games after World War II delays. The stadium tower is 72 meters tall, and if you squint, you might just see the ghosts of marathon runners still circling the track. It's still used for major sporting events and concerts, so it's a real hub of activity in Helsinki.
All right. I guess those are just ships. I thought it was like a castle out in the water, but there's a cruise ship there, and there's 3 other boats over there that were lined up that I was thinking was the castle. All right, so now we're turning. And so now we go to our single line, which is going to take us through the next 3 waypoints, and that is the next few legs will take us along the coast of the Gulf of Finland to the town of Vyborg. I guess that does have a little bit. The city has changed hands many times between Finland and Russia, with Russia last gaining control in 1944 near the end of World War II. So that's Vyborg. Sarah, are there any landmarks we're flying over now? Wondering what that red building is, but I don't know. Might not know. It's kind of beat up. So maybe.
At our 2 o'clock, about 2 kilometers out, you'll spot the Helsinki Olympic Stadium. Built for the 1952 Summer Olympics. It's a classic example of functionalist architecture and has hosted everything from world-class athletic events to rock concerts.
I don't think it knows which way we're headed.
72 meters. And if you look closely, you might imagine marathon runners still circling the track. After World War II, the stadium was finally completed just in time for the Games, making it a symbol of perseverance.
Okay. So now you can see our next waypoint, 19 nautical miles away. So it's the city of Porvoo, Porvoo. So as we get closer, we'll have Sarah give us some stuff about it. Hopefully she can, let us know something cool about it. And then we're going to have another one I think called Karenkulma. And then we get to Vyborg. And then we have one waypoint after that, which gets us to our final destination city. But we have a good amount of information to read, aside from whatever we might be able to get from Sarah as well. So, hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, we're already halfway there. Helsinki is come and gone. That's it. You can go pretty quick in a plane. Obviously, you're traveling 225 knots. So that's like a pretty big interstate-looking type roadway down there, obviously linking cities along the coastline here. But definitely a nice, just a nice view. But yeah, the Gulf of Finland is to the south, so we're flying northeast, more east than north. We'll be turning right to head more easterly shortly. We're not going to be going due east. I don't know that we will do that. But I assume Vyborg is on the border of Russia and Finland, given that they talked about it changing hands. So, obviously we'll know that. So right in front of us there is Porvoo, which is, again, waypoint 6 on the actual flight plan. Sarah, please tell us about the next stop on the tour.
Our next stop on the tour is Porvoo. It's one of Finland's oldest towns, founded in the 14th century.
Wow.
It is famous for its charming riverside warehouses painted in red ochre. The old town is a maze of cobblestone streets and wooden houses that have survived fires
Assuming
and
that's
wars.
the river.
Porvoo has inspired countless artists and writers, including Finland's national poet, J.L. Runeberg, who lived here. The town's cathedral, originally built in the 15th century, has seen everything from royal weddings to devastating fires.
You would think the cathedral was somewhere right over where we were headed, but I don't know, let me circle around. Let's see if we can see it anywhere else. Not really. That's the problem with the plane. Things go quickly. Maybe out there, but no, that just looks like a farm. Yeah, I don't know. But, cute little town. I'll give it that. Alright. So we've got 44 nautical miles. And again, we're going to Karenkulma, if I typed it right. I don't know, we'll see. There's going to be an airport a little more than halfway there. Redstone Aerodrome, maybe? I don't know, it's coming onto the map, but it's Redstone Air something. But it's like Fyta is the city, P-Y. HTAA, so maybe Paita? I don't know. But yeah, redstone arrow, Echo, Foxtrot, Papa, Romeo. But we're gonna shut up and be quiet and be back in a bit. So getting close to the next waypoint. We've got another airport. I'm thinking it's there. It should be up in that area. It says it's by a road that comes up from outside of town. Yeah, that's looking more and more like an airport, so I'm pretty sure that it is that. Yep. So, Kilo Yankee Mike Indigo, I think. Yeah, definitely an airport. Sarah, please tell us about the next stop on the tour.
Our next stop on the tour is Porvoo. It's one of Finland's oldest towns, founded in the 14th century, and is famous for its charming riverside warehouses painted in red ochre. The old town is a maze of cobblestone streets and wooden houses that have survived fires and wars. Porvoo has inspired countless
I don't want
artists
to tell
and
her to
writers,
stop
including
because we
Finland's
know what
national
happened
poet
last
J.L.
time. So,
Runeberg, who lived here.
Sarah, please tell us about the tour stop we're flying over soon.
Our next stop is Karenkulma, just 6 kilometers ahead. This small Finnish village might look quiet from above, but it's got a quirky claim to fame. It's known for its annual Scarecrow Festival. Every summer, locals compete to create the most outlandish scarecrows, and the fields turn into a parade of straw celebrities. The tradition started as a way to keep birds out of crops, but now it's more about community fun and a bit of friendly rivalry.
Cool. And it's those kind of things that we just don't know about. So, we've crossed the waypoint, I believe. Because, yeah, it says, I mean, on the map we haven't, but so I think Navigraph's a few moments behind, maybe 10, 15 seconds behind, but we are turning, and we have about 49 more nautical miles. You can see we're coming up on about 100 to our final destination. We will be coming in north of the city for the final part, but again, we've got to get to Vyborg first, and we'll learn about that, and then we'll continue from there. So enjoy the view. Let me get it set for you again, though, because we're in the wrong place. Alright, we're coming up on Vyborg. You can see a little over 7 miles to go. It's across the water there. And then we will be taking a sharp left and be heading southeast. So, you know, we're getting closer, but you can see the way we've been going, very slowly getting closer. We've only gained about 25, 30 miles in 50 miles of flight. So obviously we're, you know, not heading close by. And again, where we're going into the last town, not that direct either, but a lot more direct than we've been going. So I don't know, again, where exactly the border is. Sarah, please tell us about the next tour stop we're approaching.
Our next tour stop is Vyborg, just 5 kilometers ahead. Vyborg is a city with a history that dates back to the 13th century, when it was founded by the Swedes as a fortress. Over the centuries, it's changed hands between Sweden, Russia, and Finland, making it a real-life game of historical tug-of-war. The city is famous for its medieval Turku Castle, which sits on a small island and has survived sieges, fires, and more than a few questionable fashion trends from passing armies. Here's something. Vyborg was once known for its bustling trade in tar and timber, and its old town still has cobbled streets and architecture that tell stories from every era.
Tar and timber. That's cool. I love that blinking on the water. Very cool. Alright, so 60 nautical miles. So a little bit longer than the last couple legs. But this is it, and then we have to get to the airport. But now we've got the biggest grouping we have. We'll go and read everything till the end, so that as we're flying over the town or the city, we're not having any kind of an issue. So here we go. Heading southeast, you'll cross the Karelian Isthmus to the north edge of the old Tsarist capital of Russia, St. Petersburg. During the Soviet era, it was known as Leningrad and was the site of the longest siege in military history, lasting 872 days from September of 1941 until January of 1944. For over 2 years, the inhabitants survived on whatever could be scrounged, with only meager supplies smuggled in during the winter over frozen Lake Ladoga to the east. Turn south across the city to Pulkovo Airport. Your approach will take you over the Church of the Savior of Spilled Blood, a classic onion-domed Russian Orthodox cathedral. Completed in 1907, it was built by Tsar Alexander III as a memorial to his father, who was assassinated in 1881 and to whom the spilled blood refers. During the siege, it served as a morgue and was heavily damaged. Today, newly restored, it serves as a secular museum. So, pretty cool. I don't know if we're going to be able to spot this cathedral. Obviously, we'll look for it when we get to town. But, you know, we're heading in. And, you know, like I said, we're just not sure exactly, you know, where we're at with the border. Nothing obvious on the map or anything like we had between Sweden and Finland. But obviously, if I see something come up, but right now I can kind of see to the halfway point. And so that lake looks like it's Globokoye Lake. And the one here is, I think, oh, maybe it's this one actually, is Nakhimodskoye Lake, which these all sound more Russian than they do Finnish. So I'm thinking we've already crossed the border, but there's just nothing clear on the map that gives me that. You know, we're following a train line that's, well, let me put this back where we want it, because you can't see it from here anyway. But we're paralleling a train line there. Oh, a big quarry back there. So that's cool. And then, yeah, the train line curves away now, and we'll head that way. But, like, that's the most obvious thing on the map. But other than that, and then I don't know if there's... Let me look on the other side here, because just nearby there's something else, but I'm like, is it a pipeline? Because, yeah, it, like, goes off that way and goes around the lake and then kind of comes back, but they're, like, lines with little circles on them. I don't know what that is on a map, where this, I know, is usually train tracks, and that will go, and then it will keep going further away from us, so... But yeah, that little lake doesn't have a name on the map, or, you know, again, if I zoomed in, maybe it would, but not worried about it. So, talk to you in a bit. Alright, so whatever that line is underneath is we're flying over it, and then it goes away a little bit, so... Yeah, I mean, if it's like a pipeline or something, I don't know that it's gonna render here. I mean, it looks just like a road, but... yeah, it like goes out and comes back. Like, I'm looking at the map, and then it like crosses back over. So yeah, whatever it is, it's this thing. But again, maybe it's a buried pipe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But, you know, maybe it's like the Russian oil pipeline, gas pipeline or something. Because it crosses back over, then it comes back again as we get close to St. Petersburg, and then starts heading toward the water, which is over there, but we're still a little bit away, so we'll hold on for a bit, and then we'll reconnect and get Sarah to chat with us and get this thing landed and see what we see on the way. Alright, so getting down to 10 miles. Obviously we can see the city kind of starting to pop up here and there. Some bigger buildings. But again, we're coming in, and then the airport's, you know, we're gonna turn pretty sharply, not quite 90 degrees, but we're gonna go on heading 181, so almost straight south. And then, you know, we'll be heading to the airport, which is 17 miles away. So when we talk about looking for that cathedral and whatever, it's going to be a bit challenging, but we'll see. So let me pop back in here and kind of get ready with some things, because what I probably want to do is get myself on the course of 181. Let's see. I can see this. And that way I can switch me to the heading and kind of at least go the way we're supposed to go, because at this point it may... Well, it should turn us. We'll see, but, because, yeah, it should turn us, I suppose. But we'll see. Alright. Sarah, can you tell us about the next tour waypoint we're approaching? She should have a lot to say, I would think.
tour stop is St. Petersburg, just 6 kilometers ahead. This city was founded by Tsar Peter the Great in 1703 and quickly became the imperial capital of Russia. It's famous for its grand palaces, canals, and the Hermitage Museum, which is one of the largest and oldest museums in the world. St. Petersburg is sometimes called the Venice of the North because of its many rivers and bridges. Aviation fans might appreciate that the city played a key role in early Russian aviation history, with several pioneering flights taking off from its airfields in the early 20th century.
Sarah, can you tell us about the Church of the Spilled Blood?
The Church of the Spilled Blood in St. Petersburg is one of Russia's most visually striking landmarks, built between 1883 and 1907 on the site where Emperor Alexander II was assassinated. Its official name is the Church of the Resurrection of Jesus Christ, but everyone calls it the Church of the Spilled Blood because, well, that's where the emperor's blood was spilled. The church is famous for its colorful onion domes and over 7,500 square meters of intricate mosaics, more than any other church in the world. It was closed for much of the Soviet era and used as a storage facility for vegetables. Locals jokingly called
the
it
housing
Savior
blocks.
on potatoes.
So if you've ever seen communist cities, a lot of those high-rise apartments and whatever, I would think that's what we're looking at. We're flying into the sun, so it's a little bit more challenging to see, but so we got a little bit more information from Sarah. Sarah, any information you can provide about our destination airport? Haven't done this before, so we'll see what she does. But I'm looking around for onion domes. Maybe she can't.
Our destination airport is Pulkovo Airport, LED, which opened in 1932 and is the main international gateway to St. Petersburg. It's known for its unique Soviet-era terminal design and has seen everything from Cold War spy flights to modern jumbo jets. The airport handles over 18 million passengers a year and is a hub for several Russian airlines. Aviation enthusiasts love spotting a mix of Russian and international aircraft here, and the airport has even hosted air shows in the past.
Alright, well there's like a interesting citadel type thing. I really need to turn though, so I guess we're not gonna see the cathedral, which is sad, but you know, it is what it is. So we're gonna need to go to the left quite a bit. Runway 28 left is the one that's open, so that is where I'm going to head. So, again, kind of would have gone that way. But yeah, I'm just not seeing anything. Because yeah, I mean, I know what the Onion Dome churches look like. I'm sure you guys do too, but if it's around, it's not obvious, but very big city. I don't know what size it was back in the day when World War II was going on, but I'm sure it was pretty sprawling. Right, a lot of rail. Wow. Pretty impressive. So the airport's there. Whoops. Or around there. So I'm basically headed over to, because I did an intersection point. Yeah, I don't need the ILS, we're a VFR, but yeah, again, more of those housing blocks. Just a lot of what you'd, I guess, expect. I think they try to make it pretty and nice, and you know, they got a soccer field in the middle of all of these, and you know, make people feel like, yeah, everything's great. But is it? Anyway, so I'm going to get myself down here, pull up the ILS chart. So 2,500 feet mandatory at Bipri, then 2,000. So actually the lowest I can go is 2. But I might head to Bipri. Let's see. I didn't put anything in there, so I'm basically having to heading fly this, which is fine. But at this point, yeah, it should be 152 is where we want to be for the approach. So we're coming in. And we're gonna pull this down. We're gonna lower our gear. That should slow us down a little bit too, maybe. But at this point, just trying to slow down. We'll go put our flaps down one set. Right, so I'm assuming we're good there, and then let's see if I zoom in here. Now, there's in theory alright, so I'm gonna take the autopilot off, and we are gonna start to head in here and just try to figure it out. So, back off the throttle quite a bit. But we have some distance to go, so... And again, I should be higher than I am. So... Should still come over, but yeah, it's 28 left, wherever that is going to turn out to be. Alright, I think that's the airport there. Yeah, I mean, I know I've gone too far down, and there's basically 2 parallel runways. So going 142, but yeah, I'm thinking we need to be there. I get my landing monitor on there, so I'm not surprised. All right. We're gonna get the flaps pull out. Yeah, I just need to get myself kind of aligned, because I am not that. But yeah, we can see kind of the lights. Obviously, it helps if I put myself in a better spot to see, you know, kind of where we'd really be in the seat. But I don't know if that another plane coming in the other way. Because again, this, oh, it's taken off, because now it's blinking higher and higher. Alright, so we are 6 miles away at this point. So that's a a good distance, and I probably could have come in closer. We just passed the point where we should be at 2,000. So yeah, if I had entered all that in the plan, I guess, but again, then it's not really a VFR flight, right? I mean, we're already following a waypoint and doing things, but there's not really a reason to not land on the other side. It's going 105, so I want to make sure I don't get too slow. The last thing we need is some kind of a weird stall or something. That would be pretty bad. 4.5 miles. Still just going 102. Vertical speed. Just trying to kind of guide us in a little bit. Man, I just feel like I'm way off. There's not a big wind. There's a 4-knot crosswind, but yeah, you can see we've got the poppy lights. We're a little high. I think we've got 3 red and 2 white. Now or I guess we were a little low, is what it's telling us. So let's flatten this out a bit. All right. Outer marker. That's what the beeping is. Looks like I need to be. Okay, now we're too high. Now we're fine.
500.
I think I have the flaps all the way out. I think there's only 2 settings. It's been a while, so I don't remember, but I hit it again just in case. It's not slowing down substantially, so yes, I think we had it. Alright, a little high. Man, I am just struggling to keep myself in line with the runway here. Alright, we are on 28 left. We're back on the glide slope. And past the touchdown point. Alright, no bounces. 191. Not bad. 200's usually pretty good. So, get flaps up. Get ourselves off the runway. And again, this isn't, you know, hey, go park, do whatever. So, I mean, well, we're not off the runway, so I'll get myself across the lines, but we don't need to taxi to a location. But yeah, no small airport here or anything. And we're all set. Just need to get ourselves back there, cut off the engine. And we should be pretty good. It takes a little while for everything to finish up. But I guess we really don't have anything tracking other than... So, yeah, you would think... There we go. I'm like, you'd think it'd be done soon, but... Now we're definitely closer to having everything where we need it. But hope you've enjoyed this leg. Again, I will do my best to try to keep up with them at least on Saturdays so that you have something to look forward to, and hope you follow along. I will see you next time.